Most people dream of turning their passion into something bigger. Rick Murphy actually did it. From a small diesel shop in Arizona to millions of followers worldwide, his journey wasn't handed to him. There were failures, risks that could have destroyed everything, and moments when quitting seemed easier than pushing forward. But Rick kept going. What you're about to discover isn't just another success story. It's about a man who bet everything on an idea nobody believed in, faced dangers most of us can't imagine, and built something that changed lives in ways he never expected. Back in 2014, Rick Murphy and his wife Nikki were just trying to survive. They opened Murphy's Diesel in northern Arizona with barely enough equipment to handle basic towing jobs. The competition was fierce. Established companies had the contracts, the reputation, and the resources Rick could only dream about. Every day felt like an uphill battle. They worked brutal hours, taking whatever calls came in, broken down semis on the highway, cars stuck in ditches, jobs that barely covered expenses. There were nights when Rick questioned if they'd made a massive mistake. The overhead was crushing them. Equipment breakdowns meant money they didn't have. But giving up wasn't in his DNA. Nikki handled the business side while Rick did what he did best, fixing diesel engines and pulling vehicles out of impossible situations. Word started spreading slowly. Drivers remembered the guy who showed up at 3 a.m. in a snowstorm. Truckers talked about the mechanic who actually knew what he was doing. It wasn't glamorous, and it definitely wasn't profitable yet, but they were building something real, one recovery at a time. Then Rick had an idea that sounded absolutely insane. He wanted to film his recoveries and put them on YouTube. Other towing operators laughed at him. Why would anyone watch someone pull cars out of dirt? It seemed like a waste of time when he should have been focused on growing the actual business. But Rick saw something others didn't. These weren't just towing jobs, they were stories. Every recovery had drama, problem solving, and real stakes. He started recording with basic equipment, nothing fancy. The first videos got maybe a few hundred views, sometimes less. Months went by with barely any traction. Most people would have quit. The comments section was either empty or filled with people telling him to get a real job. But Rick kept filming, kept uploading, kept improving. He learned what viewers responded to: the technical challenges, the dangerous conditions, the satisfaction of a successful pull. Slowly, the audience grew. A video would hit 1,000 views, then 5,000. People weren't just watching for the trucks. They were connecting with Rick's no-nonsense approach and genuine passion for helping people. Something was building, and it was bigger than he realized. Everything changed when one of Rick's videos went viral. A particularly gnarly off-road recovery shot in stunning Arizona backcountry caught fire across social media. Suddenly, hundreds of thousands of people were watching, then millions. The subscribers started pouring in, and Murphy's Diesel wasn't just a local towing company anymore. It was becoming a brand. Rick didn't waste the momentum. He reinvested everything back into the business. One location became 2, then 3 across northern Arizona. The fleet expanded with bigger, more capable wreckers. Then came the project that would define his ambition: Hellboy. Rick and his team started building what they claimed would be the world's largest off-road wrecker, starting with a 1969 Peterbilt 352 and transforming it into an absolute monster. Custom mast, military spec axles, multiple Warrior winches. This wasn't just a truck, it was a statement. The build series on YouTube became must-watch content for truck enthusiasts. People tuned in weekly to see progress. Rick had gone from struggling shop owner to someone pushing the boundaries of what recovery vehicles could do. The revenue from YouTube ads and merchandise meant he could finally breathe, finally invest in the dreams he'd had from day one. But money wasn't what drove Rick anymore. Something shifted when he started making enough to be comfortable. He realized he had the power to help people the way nobody had helped him when he was struggling. That's when the free recovery started. Stranded motorists expecting a massive bill would watch in disbelief as Rick refused payment. Sometimes they cried, sometimes they tried to force money into his hands, but he wouldn't take it. If they insisted, he'd use it to help the next person. Then came the moment that proved what Rick was really about. During a historic blizzard that shut down Interstate 40, Rick worked for 40 straight hours pulling out stranded vehicles. 30 cars in total, families stuck in freezing conditions with nowhere to go. The line of trapped vehicles seemed endless. Every time he finished one recovery, 15 more cars would appear behind them. He was exhausted, running on nothing but determination and coffee. But he didn't stop. Not when his body screamed for rest, not when the storm worsened, not when he could have justified going home. People remember that weekend. They remember the bearded guy in the wrecker who saved them when nobody else would come. That's the legacy Rick was building, not just successful business, but genuine impact. What the videos don't always show are the moments when everything almost goes wrong. Heavy recovery isn't just physically demanding, it's legitimately dangerous. Cables snap under tension and can slice through metal. Vehicles shift unexpectedly during lifts. One wrong calculation and tons of steel become uncontrollable. Rick has had close calls that would make most people quit the industry. There was the time a trailer disconnect nearly cost someone their life during a recovery. The physics of heavy towing don't forgive mistakes. Then there's the physical toll. Your back takes a beating, your hands get destroyed. Working in Arizona heat or freezing mountain conditions wears you down in ways office workers can't comprehend. And the hours, middle of the night calls don't care about your family dinner or your kid's birthday. Rick has missed moments he can't get back. The pressure of running 3 locations, managing a team, producing content, and actually doing the dangerous work himself creates stress most entrepreneurs never face. There are days when the weight of it all feels crushing. Balancing being a husband, a father, and the face of a growing empire isn't something you can learn from a business book. But Rick keeps showing up, keeps taking the risks, because that's who he is. Growth brings new challenges. Rick had to transform from hands-on operator to business leader. That meant hiring and training a team that could maintain the Murphy's Diesel standard. Not everyone understood the culture Rick was building. It wasn't just about completing jobs, it was about doing them right and treating people with dignity. The business expanded beyond towing into merchandise, recovery gear, branded ropes, apparel. Fans wanted to support what Rick had created. The online store became another revenue stream that fed back into better equipment and more free recoveries. But success attracts scrutiny. There were legal confrontations, including an incident with a state trooper that went viral for different reasons. Critics emerged, people questioning his methods or motives. Running a public-facing business means dealing with criticism from people who've never pulled a truck out of a ditch in their lives. Rick had to develop thicker skin, learn when to respond and when to ignore the noise. The expansion meant more overhead, more responsibility, more people depending on him for their livelihoods. What started as him and Nikki against the world had become an operation, with dozens of employees and customers across multiple states. The stakes had never been higher. Look at what Rick's actually creating beyond the business metrics. His daughter Taylor appears in content now, seeing firsthand what her father built from nothing. She's watching a masterclass in perseverance, in turning passion into purpose. The impact on Northern Arizona's community is measurable. When people get stranded in the high country, they know Murphy's Diesel will come. That peace of mind matters. Other recovery operators have started adopting Rick's transparent, helpful approach. He's changing industry standards, showing that you can be profitable and principled simultaneously. The YouTube channel isn't just entertainment. It's educational content that's inspired countless people to pursue their own unconventional dreams. Comment sections fill with stories of viewers who started their own businesses because Rick proved it was possible. The technical knowledge he shares has helped DIY mechanics and professionals alike. Future plans include expanding the fleet further, taking on even more ambitious recovery projects, and continuing to push what's possible in the industry. Rick isn't satisfied with what he's accomplished because he knows there's always another stranded driver, another impossible recovery, another chance to prove that one person with determination can make a real difference. From a struggling diesel shop to a multi-million-dollar operation with a massive following, Rick Murphy's journey proves something important. Success isn't about waiting for the perfect moment or having all the advantages. It's about showing up when it's hard, taking risks when others won't, and staying true to your values even when they're not profitable. Rick could have charged every stranded driver. He could have stopped filming when nobody was watching. He could have played it safe. Instead, he built something that matters. And maybe that's the real question we should all ask ourselves. When faced with the choice between easy and meaningful, which one will you choose?